Reading Pioneers is proud to present A Cat for Santa by Fairies, images attributed to vecteasy.com. Let me tell you what happened one day in the enchanted forest. The dark fairy was up to her tricks, and a kitten got lost and couldn't remember where she lived. And so it began. 4 little kittens were outside their home, looking for their mittens. The dark fairy came and turned into a blue butterfly. One of the kittens, a white one, began to chase the butterfly, as kittens will do. The butterfly led the kitten to a deep, dark well. When the kitten jumped up on the well to catch the butterfly, it turned back into the dark fairy and startled her. She fell into the well. The fairy laughed and flew away. The kitten was at the bottom of the well, wet and scared. She was crying, meow, meow. She had bumped her head on the way down. It happened that day that the sugar plum fairies had come to the forest to visit their sister, the purple fairy. They heard the kitten crying and flew to the well. The pink fairy waved her wand, and the kitten rose out of the well. She was now cold, wet, and scared. The blue fairy asked, "Who put you in the well?" "I don't know. I remember chasing a blue butterfly. Then I found myself in the well," replied the kitten. The orange fairy said, "I bet it was the dark fairy. She is wicked and likes to disguise herself in blue. I wish she were not our sister." Yes, besides the purple fairy, the dark fairy is also their sister. The green fairy asked, "Where do you live?" The kitten, still shaking from the cold, answered, "I don't know. I don't remember." The orange fairy asked, "Would you like to live with us at the North Pole?" The kitten said she would love to. Off they flew to the North Pole. The kitten magically flew too. Can you guess how that happened? The fairies would have to visit their sister another day. When they arrived, Mrs. Claus saw the kitten and said, "Oh, Santa loves kittens. He had a white kitten with green eyes when he was a little boy." The fairies had a quick discussion amongst themselves. What do you think they are talking about? Then the blue fairy asked Mrs. Claus, "Would you like to take care of the kitten?" She replied, "Oh, yes. Can I? Santa will be thrilled." The green fairy said, "If it's all right with her." The kitten looked at Mrs. Claus, smiled, and said, "Yes, I would like that." Mrs. Claus was overjoyed. When they arrived home, Santa was surprised to see Mrs. Claus with a cat. He asked, "Who might this kitten be?" Mrs. Claus replied, "She doesn't have a name yet. I got her for you." Santa laughed, "Ho, ho, ho! Thank you so much. I love cats. What should we call her?" Mrs. Claus suggested, "How about Iris? Because her eyes are the color of the iris flower." Santa laughed again. "Ho, ho, ho! What a splendid name!" Santa's dog, Fudge, was not sure having a cat in the house was a good idea. In a while, Iris and Fudge became best of friends. They often slept close together, not just to keep warm, but because they were friends. Iris helps around the house quite a bit. While making brownies, Mrs. Claus must keep an eye out for Jack Frost. He likes to tease her. She is often busy baking, so she had Iris act as a watch cat. But that is not always for the best. As you know, cats like to take naps. A watch cat that is asleep is not watching. One day, Jack Frost thought it would be fun to trick Mrs. Claus. First, he knocked on her house door. When she went to answer the door, he popped into the kitchen. Iris was fast asleep, dreaming of chasing snowflakes. Sadly, she is not a very good watch cat. When Mrs. Claus came back, Iris had just woken up. Jack was still there, but the ingredients were not. He had hidden them. She said, "Jack, where are my—" But before she could finish the question, Jack had disappeared, laughing and said, "They are about, but they are not out." What a riddle! Mrs. Claus and Iris thought about the riddle. If they are about, they are near. If they are not out, they are in, said Mrs. Claus. Where do you think the ingredients are? In the kitchen, what is near and could have something put in? Iris knew right away. The ingredients are in the cabinets. She found them very quickly. Mrs. Claus was very happy. Mrs. Claus did not think Jack's joke was funny. That year, he did not get any brownies. He has not pulled that trick since. Iris is also a big help to Santa, especially on Christmas Eve. She helps him load his sleigh. She shoots the gifts into his bag while he checks them off. Sometimes she misses, and Santa has to duck. When they are done, Iris stands guard with her snowball cannon. Christmas goblins try to steal the presents before Santa can deliver them. Iris is a crack shot. Snowballs sting, and a goblin has not gotten a gift yet. After a long day of loading the bags and sleigh, it is night and time for Santa to deliver the gifts. The reindeer are hooked up to the sleigh and ready for the task ahead. The orange fairy is there to cast the spell to help the reindeer fly farther and faster than ever. To hasten Santa on his trip, the north wind blows a big gust of wind. The man in the moon looks on, smiling and shining brightly, lighting Santa's way. After a long day helping Santa and Mrs. Claus, Iris is ready for a good night's sleep. Click on the sleeping Iris to help her find the brownie ingredients, load Santa's sleigh, and protect the gifts from the Christmas goblins. Thank you, Pioneers, for reading with us today to the book A Cat for Santa by Fairies. While it's still a little early for Christmas, I liked how the story incorporated so many different characters related to the Christmas season. If you enjoyed this book, you can get a copy of it on Amazon by clicking the link in the description box down below. The great thing about purchasing this book for yourself is the interactive website you have access to from the very last page. In Save the Brownies, you have to match the ingredients that Jack Frost has hidden. Then, Helping Santa uses a catapult to shoot the presents into Santa's sleigh, but Jack Frost may try to stop you. In Protect the Gifts, you have to use the snowball cannon to hit the goblins and Jack Frost before they steal the presents. I'm so grateful that Fairies contacted me to read this book for you all. If you have a book you'd like to be read on this channel, please send me an email, contact@readingpioneers.com, so we can turn it into the next video. Also, it would help this channel a lot if you like the video, share the story with friends and family, and subscribe to stay tuned with the next Read Aloud being uploaded next week. Unfortunately, this is it for today. While waiting for the next upload, remember to visit Amazon to get a copy of A Cat for Santa for yourself or a friend. This is going to be it for now, so thanks again, readers, for joining us today, and until next time, I hope you all have an amazing day. Bye-bye!